In Gaza, more than 10 Palestinians were killed after Israeli bombardment on refugee centers in the central region of the Strip. The Supreme Leader of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, led the funeral prayers of General Razi Musabi on Thursday in the presence of thousands of Iranians. And the leader of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Jong Un, ordered his military forces to prepare for war in the face of growing tensions in the region generated by the United States and its allies. Hello, welcome to From the South. My name is Belén de los Santos, and from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba, we begin with the news. In Palestine on Thursday, more than 10 Palestinians were killed after Israeli bombardments on refugee centers in the Gaza Strip. The epicenter of the attack took place in the city of Khan Yunis in the refugee camps of Al-Maghazi and Nuseirat. The Red Crescent also denounced an air raid, an Israeli artillery attack that wounded more than 12 citizens near the Al-Amal hospital. The Israeli army chief has confirmed the next phase of war, moving further into Gaza with their main focus in Khan Yunis. For his part, the spokesperson for the Ministry of Health in Gaza, Asfarat Al-Qudra, said the death toll in Gaza has risen to 21,320. On Thursday, the United Nations reported on the rapidly deteriorating human rights situation in the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem, after October 7th, and called on Israel to end unlawful killings and settler violence against the Palestinian population. The UN report called for an immediate end to the use of military weapons and means during law enforcement operations, an end to arbitrary detention and ill treatment of Palestinians, as well as the lifting of discriminatory movement restrictions. The UN Human Rights Office has verified the death of 300 Palestinians, including 79 children, in the occupied West Bank during the past 82 days, most of them killed by Israeli occupation forces, while settlers killed at least 8. Prior to October 7th, 200 Palestinians had already been killed in the area in 2023. That is the highest number in a 10-month period since the UN began keeping records in 2005. And several civilians, mostly children and women, were killed and others injured on Wednesday in an Israeli shelling that targeted the Nuseirat refugee camp in the Central Gaza Strip. According to local sources, at least 7 civilians were killed and others were injured as a result of the occupation targeting of a house in said camp, while others were injured in Israeli shelling of another house in the Al-Suwaida area in the Central Strip. The occupation jets also launched several raids on the city center of Khan Yunis and on farmland north of the city of Rafah, south of the Strip. More than 21,000 civilians have been killed and some 54,000 wounded, as thousands reported missing since the start of the Israeli aggression on October 7th. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Wednesday compared Israel's attacks on Gaza to the Nazis' treatment of Jewish people and said that Netanyahu is no different from Hitler. In a speech at an award ceremony on Wednesday, Erdogan also suggested the United States was complicit in the death of 20,000 people in Gaza for supporting Israel. Turkey is a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. However, it is a supporter of the two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and criticized in the strongest terms the Tel Aviv's air and ground attacks on Gaza. Netanyahu reacted by disqualifying Erdogan's words, whom he did not consider to be the right person to question Israel.
For 80 days, we've watched all of humanity's values be killed before our very eyes. We've watched Israeli Nazi camps in the stadiums, right? What is this? How are you different from Hitler? They will make us long for Hitler. Is there anything different in Netanyahu's actions compared to Hitler's? No. As of now, Hitler wasn't that rich. He's richer than Hitler and gets support from the West. All kinds of support is coming from the U.S. And with all this support, what did they do to more than 20,000 Gazans? They killed them.
And also in this context, Egypt's President Abdel Fattah AlSissi on Wednesday held talks with Jordan's King Abdullah II in Cairo. According to the official statements, the two sides reiterated their total rejection of all attempts to liquidate the Palestinian and forcibly displace Palestinians in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. King Abdullah and AlSissi stressed the need for the whole world to push for an immediate ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and the provision of sufficient and sustained humanitarian aid to alleviate the tragic situation and the suffering of all Gazans. The two leaders agreed to maintain close coordination between their countries and call for the establishment of a political horizon to achieve a just and comprehensive peace based on the two-state solution and the establishment of an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. The Supreme Leader of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, led the funeral prayers for General Razi Musabi on Thursday in the presence of thousands of Iranians. The high-ranking officer of the Revolutionary Guard was killed on Monday in a bombing attributed to the Israeli army against Damascus, the Syrian capital. During his speech, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei ratified Musavi as a martyr of the nation. For his part, the commander of the Revolutionary Guard, Hossein Salami, made reference to the hard conditions Musabi faced during his mission in Syria and highlighted his high formation and recognized trajectory. The Iranian government, in a previous speech, assured that the response to the crime would be a combination of direct action and others carried out by the resistant fronts. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. The Prime Minister of Haiti, Ariel Henry, attended a hearing investigating the assassination of President Jovenel Moise in mid-2021. Without giving specific details about the Prime Minister's statements, the Ministry of Communication confirmed his appearance. In the communique, they emphasized that the Prime Minister trusts in justice and that is why he wanted to contribute with the truth in this quote-unquote painful affair. They emphasized that the appearance of Ariel Henry is proof that in the country everyone is equal before justice. Last week, the Council of Ministers approved that both heads of government and other high officials attended the request of justice system that are part of the investigation. In Argentina, representatives of the leftist Union for the Homeland Coalition held a meeting in Congress this Wednesday to discuss the mega law bill promoted by government of Javier Milei, which seeks to eliminate electoral rights and political participation. Among its many measures, the bill included modifications to the financing of political parties and eliminates sanctions for candidates who do not take part in the debate. The law also contains the assignment of powers from the National Congress to the National Executive Branch, which grants special powers to Milei until December 2025. For his part, President Milei indicated that if Congress does not support the proposal of transformation that he seeks to promote in his government, he would call for a plebiscite. According to figures from the Judicial Investigation Agency, Costa Rica could be through its most violent year with a total of 900 homicides in 2023. Central American country registers 41% increase in violence compared to the year 2022. According to authorities in the country, the wave of homicides is caused by drug trafficking, settling of criminal scores, control of localities, and legitimation of capitals. In view of these facts, a commission with representatives of the powers of the state started the analysis of the draft laws on security matters to discuss with the Congress. And in Bolivia, all state universities have joined forces to support the population and housing census to be carried out in March of next year. The preparation of the survey is at the stage of recruiting volunteers who will apply the 59-question survey. Our correspondent in La Paz, Freddy Morales, brings us more information.
The State Major University of San Andrés de la Paz, the largest in the country, added its support to the national population and housing census to be conducted next year, and committed to actively participate in the current phase of volunteer recruitment, which will apply the survey.
The major University of San Andrés and other universities were committed to a policy, in this case the NIS, to carry out the census that would allow us to define public state policies based on transparent, precise information that will be gathered through the census.
The major university of San Andrés de la Paz has the largest number of students, with more than 90,000. Part of the volunteers who will carry out the survey will come from this university.
The universities are important for their participation in this event. The National Statistics Institute does the census, but it does it with the whole population and with the students who are the ones called to be able to do an investigation that will allow them to find the families and know how we are.
There are 10 state universities in Bolivia, and all of them have committed their support in recruiting volunteers to carry out the survey on the day of the census. Agreements have also been signed with private universities and other institutions that call on their students to actively participate in the census.
It is important to highlight this agreement because we are already close to 300,000 volunteer census takers registered nationwide, representing more than 42% of the established goal. We are sure that with this participation of the Higher University of San Andrés, we will reach the goal we have set for peace and for the country and guarantee the quality of this census process.
The Statistics Institute have proposed to recruit 700,000 volunteers, among young students in the last years of high school and university students and teachers in urban and rural areas. That figure is 30% more than the minimum required to conduct the survey on March 23 this year, but it was decided to meet it to avoid setbacks at the time of the census, which will take place 11 years after the previous national population and housing census.
Freddy Morales, TeleSUR, Bolivia.
We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on the screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with TeleSUR. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back. The leader of Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Jong Un, ordered his military forces to prepare for war in the face of growing tensions in the region generated by the United States and its allies, which he called vassal forces. He made the announcement at the second day session of the 9th plenum of the 8th Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea. In the framework of the event, Jong Un, who is also the Secretary General of the organization, set the directions for the year 2024. In addition to setting tasks in all sectors, he instructed the People's Army and the ammunition, nuclear and defense industries to further accelerate preparations for war. The Defense Ministry spokesman Wu Qiang from China told reporters at a monthly briefing Thursday that China's armed forces reject U.S. interference in the country's internal affairs. Likewise, he said the development of military ties between the U.S. and the island of Taiwan undermined peace in the region and endangered the stability of peace.
The Taiwan issue is purely China's internal affair and does not meet foreign interference. We firmly oppose any form of official exchanges and military contacts between Taiwan and any country. The United States is manipulating the Taiwan issue by various means. This is a very dangerous gamble. We call on the United States to fully recognize the serious damage of China-related provisions of law, stop arming Taiwan under any name and by any means, stop its provocative acts of using Taiwan to control China, and take practical measures to safeguard regional peace and stability. The development of military ties between the United States and the Taiwan region of China is a serious violation of the One China principle, and the provision of the three joint communiques seriously undermines China's sovereignty and security, gravely endangers peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait, and sends a gravely incorrect message to Taiwan's separatist pro-independence forces.
The government of Benin lifted the suspension of the transit of goods imported into Niger through the port of Cotonou after 5 months of sanctions. The Director General of the Port of Cotonou stated that the measure had been taken in view of the substantial improvement in the operational conditions for the handling of goods at the port, in particular the reduction of the rate of congestion. The move comes almost a week after Benin's President, Patrice Talon, called for a rapid restoration of relations between his country and the neighboring Niger. Both countries are also concerned about a giant oil pipeline that will allow Niger, one of the world's poorest countries, to sell its crude oil on the international market for the first time through the Beninese port of Sim. Burkina Faso's Minister of Foreign Affairs received on Thursday Russia's ambassador to Ivory Coast, Alexei Saltykov, after the government of Moscow announced the reopening of Russia's embassy in the country after it closed 31 years ago. The Burkina foreign minister confirmed in a statement that Russia formally reopened its embassy in Ouagadougou. In this regard, Russia's ambassador to Ivory Coast, Alexei Saltykov, said he would head the mission in Burkina Faso until new ambassador is named, and described Burkina Faso as an old partner with whom Russia has been solid and friendly ties. Moscow and Burkina Faso already agreed on greater military cooperation, and in October they signed a deal for the construction of a nuclear power plant to increase the energy supply to the Sahel country, where less than a quarter of the population has access to electricity. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, my name is Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.